I think today's session was a bit unusual in the sense that it emphasized the uncertainty of planche training. And I guess you can extrapolate this to like calisthenics in general, right? Because calisthenics is, since it's not necessarily a linear progressive sport, nor does it add any resistance, like external resistance. It's purely using gravitational force, right? Leverages and just like specifically isometric holds that I am trying to dominate in the sense, right? Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when I was holding my straddle planche each set, right, it felt like I was improving every single time, right? This isn't really like a good or like a beneficial point, but there tends to be a trend where my very first straddle planche hold always seems to be the best one. From then on, it just diminishes and my performance just dampens, right? But for today, that wasn't necessarily the case. My first hold was the poorest hold. Um, it was like my legs were very low, my hips were not driving upwards. There was like very poor engagement of like my body, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because you can later on see through my other straddle planche holds that there's a significant improvement in my posture. Now, I do need to credit this to recording myself because I was able to look through my position, my posture, and everything, and then like immediately pinpoint those areas of improvement, right? But what I just didn't understand about today's session was right here when I did my first half lay hold, straddle half lay, it felt so effortless. Like I purposely stopped it short just to make sure I didn't waste any of my energy, right? I didn't want to fatigue myself for the juice of this workout, which was the straddle planche holds. And the fact is, like, I hardly ever hold back on those very first holds, right? I always use it to warm myself up, but I felt like I could hold that position for a very long time. Essentially, this was like the embodiment of one of my best warm-up sessions, right? I just felt really poppy getting into this training session. But if you just saw those last two straddle planche holds, you can immediately tell that my posture was off. It was significantly worse than my posture from last session. And yeah, like it just seemed like there was a lack of tense or I guess like contraction of my isometrics, right? Like it just didn't feel like my anterior chain, my posterior chain were at all rigid at all, right? And later on, I was able to like, I guess, engage a bit more of my scapula, even though my hips were driven a bit low. But it was definitely an improvement from my first hold, right? Now, speaking about posture, I wanted to kind of go in depth with the about tensing your body, right? Specifically with the planche, right? It's a very demanding isometric hold. So thus it assumes that you're not just engaging your prime movers, you're engaging every synergist, all like your muscle groups, like your rotator cuffs, your serratus anterior, just like even the small muscles, right? Even your glutes, even like your legs, right? You're tensing them just to make sure you look like it looks spotless, right? Now, I just found like this was a bit contradictory to other sports such as sprinting where you're encouraged not to remain tense. You need to ensure or like strive for that flow or like that readiness, you know? You want to be very fluid and calm. You don't want to be tense. And the reason why is because you want to conserve that energy and purely wind that and drive it to your prime movers, which is your legs. Now, I guess if I compare that to piano as well, you don't want to seem tense. You want to be very, I guess, flowy, because then it's not going to, I guess, benefit your performance at all. And yeah, but with the planche, there is no demand for dynamic movement. You're not like wasting any energy, like tensing other positions of your body, because in general, it's not a long duration exercise. So I think that was like the main point that kind of, I guess, was the incentive, or like the incentive for tensing everything and just like making sure I'm holding my breath before holding the planche. So yeah, that was about it, and I'll finish it off here.